Perimeter of what? The base. Very good. P stands for perimeter of the base. Okay, what do you think capital B stands for? Area of the base. Okay, capital B and lowercase b are two different things. Okay, capital B is area of the base, lowercase b is just base. Okay, so capital B, area of the base. H, what do you think that stands for? Height. And what do you think this little cursive L stands for? Not length. Not lateral surface area. What'd you say? Not volume. I'll be impressed if anybody knows it. Okay, it is what we call slant height. Slant height. So, on your pyramids and your cones, which is what we're going to talk about next class, your height is perpendicular to your base, okay, and it represents the altitude or the height of your figure. Whereas your slant height is on one of your faces. Okay, so that would be an example of your slant height. Okay, we're also going to be talking about two different types of area. We're going to have lateral area and surface area. Okay, lateral area is the sides only. Okay, so when you paint a room, most of the time that's lateral area, although painting the ceiling has now become a trend. But painting a room usually is referred to as lateral area. Okay, and then total surface area is the bases as well as your sides. Okay, so those are the two that we're going to deal with in addition to volume. Alright, formulas. Let's look at cylinder first. Okay, for your cylinder, okay, your lateral area equals 2 pi RH. Okay, so lateral area is S equals 2 pi RH. Total surface area S equals 2 pi RH plus our bases, which is 2 circles, so 2 pi R squared. Okay, then you have volume. Okay, and volume of a cylinder is capital B times H. And if you were to substitute in the formula to find that area of the base, you would get pi R squared times H. Okay, so you have a radius and a height. Area of your base would be here. Alright, let's shimmy on over to triangular prism. Okay, so for your prisms, okay, your lateral area S equals P times H. What's P stand for? Perimeter of your base. Very good. Okay, what is our base of a triangular prism? Which shapes are our bases? The triangles. Okay, one is in the name. Okay, so triangular prism. The triangles are your bases. Okay, for your prisms, your bases are always going to be opposite of each other and parallel. Okay, your bases also have to be congruent. Okay, so opposite of each other and parallel. Alright, so triangles are our bases here, hence the name triangular prism. Okay, our surface area formula is S equals pH plus 2 times the area of our base and then our volume B times H. In this case, since our base is a triangle, it's 1/2 base times your height of your triangle times the height of your prism. Okay, so this right here would be the height of your triangle. This right here would be the height of your prism. Okay, people who miss volume and surface area and all that good stuff of prisms is because they switch that. Okay, your height has to be you visualizing it sitting on its base. Okay, so you have to picture this tilted sitting on the triangle, and that's the height of your prism. Okay, and the last one that we're working with today is the sphere. Okay, there is no lateral area for spheres. Okay, surface area is 4 pi r squared. And your volume is 4/3 pi r cubed. And all of these formulas will be on your formula sheet. You don't have to memorize them. Okay, questions on what we've done thus far? We're going to tackle pyramids and cones later.
Can you tell the volume of the triangular prism again?
Can I go what?
Tell the volume of the triangular prism.
Okay, so the volume of your prisms, okay, is the same as your volume of your cylinder. You take the area of the base times the height. Okay, but the only thing with prisms is you have to be able to identify which one are your bases. Okay, so if you were to say that the height of this figure is this, you would get it wrong because the height is here. Because you have to imagine this being tilted and sitting on the base. Questions on anything so far? Any other questions? Okay, turn to your notes then. And don't lose that, because we'll fill that out next class too with the last 2 of our vocab. Okay. First 2 things we're doing are just writing definitions of a sphere and a hemisphere. I'm pretty sure we all know what it looks like, but defining it is a different story. Okay. A sphere is the set of all points in space that are the same distance from a fixed point called the center. Okay, so that is the technical definition of what a sphere is. Okay, all these points around that are equidistant from the center. Okay, so all the distances from those points to the center all make up your radius. Okay, hemisphere is what? What's a hemisphere? Half a sphere. Okay, so half of a sphere bounded by a great circle. So the equator, the prime meridian. Okay, draw a sphere and label its center, radius, and diameter. Okay, so see how good of a circle you can draw. Okay, this would be my center. My radius. And then the whole thing across would be my diameter. A hemisphere and its boundary of a great circle. This looks like half an apple or orange. Okay, and this would be the great circle. Alright, what kind of 3D shape do we have here? Very good, rectangular prism. What do we have in the middle? Cylinder. And what do we have at the end? Triangular prism. What shape's my base? The triangle. Very good. They try to trick you by putting it set on a different base, but these would be my bases. My cylinder, these are my bases. Okay, my rectangular prism doesn't necessarily matter because you have a bunch of congruent bases. However, if you choose, let's say, these two rectangles as your base, this is your height then. Not this. This is your height. So whatever you choose as your base for rectangular prisms, make sure you visualize it sitting on that base. Questions on the first page? Okay. Alright, prisms and cylinders both have two parallel bases. The shapes that connect the bases are what we call lateral faces. Okay, that's why when you calculate lateral surface area, okay, you are including what's on the outside and not just the top and the bottom. So you're not including the top and the bottom, you just want what's on the outside. Okay, number 8, the distance between the bases is always referred to as the height. Okay, our next two definitions are surface area and lateral surface area. Surface area is the sum of areas of a figure's bases and lateral faces. Whereas lateral surface area is what? Just the what? Just the lateral faces. Very good. So the sum of the areas of all of the lateral faces of a figure. Okay, talk with somebody around you, and think of the ideas for these three boxes. So give 2 examples when you might want surface area, 2 examples of lateral surface area, and 2 examples where you might need volume. So talk to somebody around you, see if you guys can come up with those 6 things. Go. Okay, let's regroup. Okay, somebody tell me a way that you would need to use surface area. Yeah, Marina?
How much paper you need to wrap a present.
Very good, wrapping a present. Okay, somebody give me something else. You can give me the surface area, lateral, or volume.
Painting the room.
Painting a room goes where?
Lateral.
Very good. The storage container, where is that going? Volume? Yeah, because you want to know how much stuff can be put into there. Sure, storage container. Okay, need 3 more.
Fill the water bottle and volume.
Very good, filling a water bottle. Oh my gosh, I can't spell. Okay, somebody give me something else.
Painting a birdhouse.
Painting a birdhouse.
Surface area.
Would you paint the bottom of the birdhouse though? Do you?
Tree. Digging a tree.
Okay. Painting. Oh. All sides of a birdhouse. Okay, we need 1 more for lateral.
Putting wallpaper.
Yeah, wallpaper. Good job. Okay, now with your partners or the people around you, answer 1 through 4. Go. Number of sheets of plywood needed to make a shed. Very good. The amount of glass needed to create an aquarium. Sometimes aquariums have tops.
They don't have bottoms. They don't have glass bottoms.
My home aquarium has a glass top. Oh, that's true. Maybe they don't. No, it's glass. But I think there's like just a little area.
No, that's not lateral. There's lateral on the bottom of the square. Yeah.
They still have a lid though. Okay, so maybe it's not glass, but it's covered. Okay, we'll just stick with surface area.
It says glass. Yeah, it says glass. It says glass.
Okay. Next. Amount of sand in a full sandbox. Volume. Okay, so this one's a little controversial depending on what kind of aquarium you know or use or whatever. But on problems on your test and quizzes, it's very blatant which one you need to use. Okay, so now we are just going to practice finding lateral area, surface area, and volume of different 3D figures. Okay, first of all, what kind of figure do we have? Triangular prism. Alright, which shape is our bases? Or are our bases? The triangles. Okay, so I would always shade my base and then immediately label your height so you don't mess up. Okay, which one's my height? 12. Okay, it is not 5. Okay, you have to imagine it sitting on the base. Okay, what does capital B stand for? Area of the base. Okay, how do I find the area of a triangle? 1/2 base times height. So I have 1/2 12 times 5. 1/2 is 60, and what do I get? 30 feet squared. Okay, what's capital P stand for? Perimeter of the base. Okay, I have 5 and 12. How am I going to figure out this missing side? Pythagorean theorem. If you know your triple, this will be easy. 13, but if you don't, you can do it the long way. 25 plus 144. 169 equals C squared. 13 equals C. Okay, so our perimeter is 5 plus 12 plus 13, which is what? And our height is what? Very good. Okay, looking at your purple sheet, what is our formula for lateral area? pH. What is the surface area formula? pH plus 2B. And what is the volume formula? BH. Okay, so now I'm just substituting in. I've already found P, B, and H. Now I just need to put them in place. Okay, so S equals P, which is 30, H, which is 12. So what is our lateral surface area? 360 what? Feet squared. Anytime you're dealing with area, square area. Okay, we already found pH because that's what lateral area is. So I know I can just substitute in 360 for pH. Okay, now we need to add 2 times the area of our base, which was 30. So I have 360 plus 60. Awesome. Okay, and then I have V equals, my base is 30, my height is 12. What is my volume? Cubed. Awesome. Questions on triangular prisms? Okay, to be more exact in the terminology when naming this triangular prism, what kind of triangle do we have? A right triangle. So this is also known as a right triangular prism. Okay, so you have triangular prisms and then you have right triangular prisms. Okay, before you turn the page, let me see if I can... Oh, perfect. Actually, turn to the back of your notes real quick. The very back, it's a white sheet. Okay, I want you to draw this. Doesn't have to be perfect. Mine's not going to be. Okay, what kind of shape do I have? Okay, triangle prism. How is this one different? It's an equilateral. We don't call it an equilateral triangular prism, but I just wanted you guys to recognize that it wasn't a right triangle. Okay, so my shapes, my triangles are still my bases. Which makes what my height? 8. We'll go feet. What's my perimeter? 9, right? 3 plus 3 plus 3. Okay, the area of my base is 1/2 b times h. What is my base? 3. What's my height? The height of my triangle is 8. Okay, perfect. Somebody said it. Is 3 my height? What's my height?
You mean the height of the triangle?
I'm talking about the height of the triangle. We're trying to figure out the area of my base. So I'm looking at my triangle right here. I have 1/2 3 because that's my base. What is my height? It's not defined, but are we capable of finding it?
Yeah.
How? How do I figure out the height of this triangle? Very good. Split the triangle in half, and then you're doing Pythagorean theorem. So what is the length of these legs now? 1.5. Okay, am I solving for the leg or the hypotenuse? The leg, okay, because this is my unknown right here. That is a leg. So I have 3 squared equals 1.5 squared plus b squared. So I have 9 equals, what's this? 2.25 plus b squared. This is Coach Clone. Yes. Welcome, bye-bye. Actually, let's see your given. Okay, so I subtract 2.25 from both sides. What do I get? 6.75 equals b squared. So what is my height? 2.6. Okay, so my height is really 2.6. But how many people do you think always say it's 3? A lot, okay, and that's why I wanted to put this problem on the back. We're not going to do anything in addition to this. If you want to multiply that out, you can. But I just wanted you guys to get used to actually having to solve for a height. It's not always going to be given to you, okay? But the biggest mistake is that people just assume if it's an equilateral or an isosceles or whatever that the height's given. Okay, another mistake that I see is they forget to divide by 2 right here. Okay, so we'll set 3 squared, and then it'll just get all messed up. And then the third thing is they solve for the hypotenuse instead of a leg. Okay, so just make sure you're paying attention to what you're solving for. Alright, turn back to where we were. Okay, what do we have in number 2? A cylinder. Okay, you have a radius of 12 inches and a height of 18 inches. Okay, so it already gave us our height. Okay, in terms of pi, okay, our area of our base is pi r squared. Okay, so I have pi times 12 squared. So leaving it in terms of pi, what do you get as your area? 144 pi inches squared. Okay, perimeter of a circle is equivalent to saying what? Circumference. Okay, so the P for this is actually circumference. Okay, how do you find the circumference of a circle? 2 pi r. So 2 pi times 12, what do you get? In terms of pi? 24 pi. Awesome. Okay, how do you find lateral area? Not 2 pi rh, just s equals ph. Oh, in this case it's 2 pi rh, yeah. Okay, so you have the perimeter, which was 2 pi r. That's how we got the h, the 2 pi rh. Okay, so we have 24 pi times our height, which is 18. So leaving it in terms of pi, what do you get? (432 pi inches squared). You will be expected to leave your answers in exact terms. So when it says exact, it means leave it in terms of pi. Okay, unless it says to round to the nearest hundredths, thousandths, whatever, you don't multiply by 3.14. Okay, you just leave it in pi. Okay, how do you find surface area? So you have pH plus 2b, so you have 2 pi rh plus 2 pi r squared. Okay, we know 2 pi rh is 432 pi, plus 2 pi r squared, we know that that's 144 pi. Okay, so we have 432 pi plus 288 pi. What do we get? Try it again. 432 plus 288, 720 pi inches squared. Okay, our last one, volume, capital B times H. So we have 144 pi times our height. Leaving it in terms of pi, what do we get for the volume? Very good. Okay, another important module where you don't want to forget your units because they add up really fast. Questions over the triangular prisms or cylinders? Okay. Alright, with somebody around you, do number 3. Okay, what kind of shape do you have? A rectangular prism. So that we all have the same answers, which shape do you want to make your base? Or which two rectangles?
The tiny one.
The little guys? Okay, so use these as your bases so that we all have the same answers. Okay, go. 30 seconds. Okay, freeze. What do we get for capital B? 6 feet squared. What about capital P? Height? Very good. Okay, lateral area. What do we get? Awesome. Surface area? Sweet. And volume? Great job. Any questions over number 3, the rectangular prism? Okay. So again, if people are going to make a mistake with the rectangular prism, is they're going to do all the work, but then they're going to go back and say that the height is 2 after they've used this base. Okay, so just make sure you visualize it sitting on the base before you establish what the height is. Alright, number 4, find the surface area and volume of a basketball with a diameter of 12 inches. My diameter is 12 inches, what's my radius? Very good. Okay, so make sure you always have the radius. Okay, what's my formula for surface area? 4 pi r squared. So I have 4 pi 6 squared. Leaving it in terms of pi, what do you end up with? 144 pi inches squared. So 6 times 6 is 36, times 4 is 144. Okay, volume. What's our formula? Very good. 4/3 pi r cubed. So I have 4/3 pi times 6 cubed. What is 6 cubed? 216. So I'm going to move it over here. 216 times 4/3 pi. What does that simplify to? 288 pi inches cubed. Questions on that? Alright, find the surface area of the rounded part of a hemisphere with a radius of 150 feet. So let's draw our hemisphere. Okay, it has a radius of 150 feet. Okay, a hemisphere is half of a sphere. Okay, so how would we find half the surface area? So you would have 4 pi r squared divided by 2. Okay, or 1/2 of 4 times pi times, what's your radius? 150. Okay, 1/2 of 4 is 2, so you have 2 pi 150 squared. And what do you get? What's 150 squared times 2?
45,000.
45,000, then don't forget to tack back on that pi. Questions on 4 or 5? Yes. You can't have lateral surface area of a sphere. So it's just the whole part. That's why it just says surface area. It probably could have taken out this. Alright, turn the page. Okay, the last thing that makes this pre-AP a little bit more difficult and challenging is composite surface areas. Just like we had composite area and composite perimeter on the coordinate grid, now we have composite surface areas and volumes. Okay, so let's look at number 6. What two shapes do we have? Half a cylinder plus, very good, so you have half a cylinder plus a rectangular prism. How do you find the volume of a cylinder? Base times height, and so if we are going to have half of it, we know we're going to have 1/2 base times height, area of the base times the height. How do we find a rectangular prism's volume? I heard somebody whisper it. Area of the base times the height. Okay, so let's work on one at a time. Half of a cylinder, what is the area of my base of my cylinder? Okay, so you know that this is 6. So the radius is what? 3. So what would the area of that base be? Don't worry about dividing it by 2 because we're going to divide the whole thing by 2. 9 pi. Okay, and then what is my height? 10. Okay, so what is the volume of that cylinder? 90 pi. But we need to do what? Divide by 2. So what's my volume? 45 pi. Okay, now let's look at the volume of my rectangular prism. Okay, what's the area of my base? 48, so you want to use this as your base. Okay, what's my height then? 10. So I have 480 inches cubed. Okay, because you really can't combine a number that's got pi with it and then a constant, let's go ahead and get this in decimal, round to the nearest hundredth. What's 45 pi to the nearest hundredth? What is it? 0.37? Okay, so now let's add 480 plus 141.37, and what do you get? $621.37 inches cubed. Very good. Questions on number 6? Yes.
How did you get the 9 pi?
Because if, say, the cylinder was whole, the radius is 3, so pi r squared is 9 pi. And then we divided the whole thing by 2 because it was half. Any other questions on 6? Okay, I want you to do 7 on your own. You have a tissue box. Okay, so what are you going to do in order to find the volume of that? Very good. So you're going to have the volume of the prism minus the volume of the cylinder. Okay, so with the people around you, work on that. Volume of the prism minus the volume of the cylinder. Round to the nearest hundredth, but don't round till the end. So same thing that we just did. Because inside of a Kleenex box, the cylinder is empty. I mean, it's full of Kleenex, but you have to cut it out in order to make that space. It's like sticking a water bottle inside of a Kleenex. Yeah,
they
sounds good.
wrap around, and you like pull around.
Yeah.
I seen that in one of the little the wiping.
Are you doing the ones that are in the front?
So the base of the cylinder is 2 pi r squared. Okay. Oh, the base is 2 pi.
Yeah. That's what I think.
Nearest hundred. Okay. Did you guys get 285.81 inches cubed? Okay, so the volume of the prism should have been 512 inches cubed. The volume of the cylinder should have been 72 pi inches cubed. And then when you subtract the two, you get 285.81 inches cubed. Any questions on that? Yes. The volume of the cylinder? So you have capital B times H, your B is pi r squared times your height. If the if the diameter was 6, your radius is 3, and then the height of the cylinder is the same as the height of the prism, so it's 8. So inside here is the cylinder with a radius of 3 and a height of 8. Any other questions on 7? Alright. Number 8. The picture below is a plastic dog bowl for Coach Cologne's puppy. It's in the shape of a cylinder with a hemisphere cut out. What is the volume of the plastic used to make the dish? What are we going to have to do?
Cylinder volume minus hemisphere.
Very good. Cylinder volume minus hemisphere. Okay, so let's work on the cylinder volume first. Okay, you have volume equals capital B times H. Okay, what is the radius of my cylinder? 7. What is my height? Okay, so leaving that in terms of pi, what do you get? 441 pi units cubed. Okay, hemisphere. What's the volume of a sphere? 4/3 pi r cubed, and we know that we're going to have to multiply that by 1/2 or divide by 2 because it's a hemisphere. What's 1/2 times 4/3? Very good, 2/3. Okay, so now we have 2/3 pi r cubed. What's my radius? Okay, so somebody put that in the calculator. 6 cubed is what? 216 times 2/3 pi. So 216 times 2 is what, 432 divided by 3. And what do you get? 144 pi units cubed. Okay, so now we just need to subtract the 2. So you have 441 pi minus 144 pi. And what does that equal? Awesome. Questions on that? That was the last one. Okay, so I know that was a lot of notes today, but you needed to see all the different kinds of application and how you could see it on a skills check or something else in your near future. So those were all really important. Okay, my biggest thing that I want you to make sure that you don't make the mistake of is not solving for the proper height of your triangles. So make sure that you don't just automatically assume that you're given the height. Sometimes you might have to do a little extra work. And then the other thing is make sure you're visualizing that it's sitting on those bases so that you can label the appropriate height. Okay, that's going to be the two biggest mistakes other than just little computational like decimals and all that kind of stuff. Okay, on your homework real quick, look at number 3. A can holds 3 tennis balls as shown in the figure. The radius of each tennis ball is 3 centimeters. What is the total volume that all 3 tennis balls take up? How would you go about solving that? You would find the volume of 1 and then times 3. Okay? What would be the volume of the can? How would you figure that out? Awesome. Okay, I hope you're listening. And then C, what's the volume of the can that is not taken up by the tennis balls? Very good. The cylinder subtract all the tennis balls. Okay. You have we need to start the skills check in 12 minutes. Okay. In that 12 minutes, I would start working on some of these. And then I will also hand back your test so that you can see them. But we have to start the skills check in 12 minutes because you need a good 20 minutes to work on your skills check. I think it's 4. You'll be able to use your formula sheet on this skills check. Here you go. Here you go. Okay, to make this faster, so that you can get it, I'm just going to call your name out.